Welcome back, everybody. Yes, it's been a very long stream, but we're gonna jump in and actually talk about Michael Penix Jr. Um, he was actually just the Sugar Bowl winner from this last Monday. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting debate here. I got some stuff, I got some stats and stuff like that. I'll share here after Eli kind of jumps into everything, and yeah, I'll post this up later, share it later on, and yeah, this is gonna be a good debate.
Yeah, my main man Penix just been tearing it up. Tore up Texas, 430 yards, 2 touchdowns. You saw what happened there. Uh, Texas is, they're loaded, both sides of the ball. Just couldn't stop the guy. Couldn't stop the guy, and I think that's going to carry on into the NFL. So we're going to get into, his prospects, if you will. Um, I I'll start off with who I think his comp is, and I don't know. Maybe people don't see this. I was thinking maybe Kirk Cousins, just with the size, but he's a better athlete. He's a better athlete than Kirk. I think he's more in like a left-handed CJ Stroud kind of realm. I could see him having similar rookie stats, kind of coming in next year and doing a lot of what CJ and I was impressed with his mobility even in the Sugar Bowl game. Everybody says, oh, he can't move. He needs a great offensive line. He can't move. He moves pretty damn well in the pocket. He's just not a scrambler. You know,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow isn't a scrambler. But he can move well in the pocket too. You don't have to be. And Joe Burrow, when he's healthy, is probably a top 3 quarterback. So like, I want to get rid of that, because that's one of the knocks on Penix is he's not. Oh, he's not a scrambler. He's not. Oh, that's a good thing. I don't want him. He's gonna be your quarterback for the next 10, 15 years. I don't want him getting. I don't want to getting concussed like Tua. A couple multiple times a season or anything crazy like that. So yeah, that's where I would start the comp with is C.J. Stroud. Like I said, similar height, similar build, and just left-handed but yeah, I think similar stats. Draft Buzz, that's kind of who we've been going with lately. I know we did a couple other places for prospect rankings, but I just like Draft Buzz because they include a lot broader range of players. It's not just PFF or other places. It's very like first roundy, and I like a variety. We've done a bunch of different profiles, and I like the fact that there's a variety, and so they put him. Penix reminds me of Mike Vick, Eric. Not as much of an athlete, obviously. Mike Vick is more Lamar Jackson in terms of the ability. He can get you 100. Penix isn't going to rush for 100 yards, but he moves well in the pocket. I think he's like C.J. Stroud. That's why I use the comp there. He's a deceptive athlete. You just don't really see it because they don't ask him to do that. His strength is reading defenses and throwing it deep to Adunze, Polk, McMillan,
Right.
all the stud NFL receivers he's got. But yeah, Draft Buzz has got him as the number 9 overall prospect, number 4 quarterback behind obviously Caleb, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels. So he's projected to go in the first round. And like I had mentioned, he's got a 4.6 4.40, which is, for a quarterback, that's really good. That's nothing to snuff at. They're Tua, who everybody keeps calling him. They call him a taller, bigger arm Tua. Tua ran a 4.9. So he slings the ball like that. Yeah, probably the motion, Eric, but I think that's, I'll get into his strengths and weaknesses here in a second. Mechanics, that's another thing they're probably going to have to work on when he gets to the NFL just to perfect that. But yeah, he's got a decent 40 time. Got decent, got prototypical quarterback size. Nothing wrong there. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. I need that. Oh yeah. I was gonna say where he's that was awkward. Where he's gonna go in the draft? I would assume he'd go to the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
They've got. I think he needs a good offensive line because, like I said, he's not a scrambler. So if you're going to have a Burrow, if you're going to have Mahomes, you're going to have a guy that's an athlete, but not freakishly athletic like Josh Allen, Lamar, guys like that, AR5. You need to have a good offensive line. And I think Atlanta, because they got a top 5 offensive line, they have a ton of weapons in the top 5 offensive line. I think that'd be the perfect spot. I don't know about the coach. I think he's kind of an idiot. Quarterback, obviously that's why they're taking him. Heineke and Desmond Ritter, get the hell out of here. This was a wasted year. This was a wasted year for the Falcons, really, with all their cheap young talent. Just yeah, just. But Penix would fix a lot of that. I hate to see it because they're in Bucks division, but I mean Penix would fix a lot of their issues. His strengths and weaknesses, like I said, big arm, high football IQ, good intangibles. Like I said, it can layer throws. He can make every throw in the book. I mean, this guy is your prototypical 2024 NFL quarterback. I mean, this is what you want. Can sling it. Weaknesses, like I said, gonna need a good offensive line, and probably gonna need to fix his throwing motion, his mechanics a little bit. But they fixed Aaron Rodgers' mechanics. Remember, Aaron Rodgers came in and he kind of threw like a robot. Aaron Rodgers turned out to be one of the best quarterbacks ever. So, just because they got to fix your throwing a little bit, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, and Aaron Rodgers had a great college career too. So, Penix is, I'd argue he's the best quarterback in the country, and he has been all year. He's better than Jaden Daniels. He's at least at the collegiate level. He's been better than Caleb. He's been better than all these guys. He's going to need some tuning up on his mechanics. Stats there. I'll get into his stats, then I'll let Jay jump in. 2022 and 2023, very similar stats. So he wasn't like a one-year wonder, and that's what people worried about with Joe Burrow. Is he was kind of a, he had those freakish stats in 2019. Like, can he translate that? And he sure as hell did. But, almost the same number of passing yards. The passing attempt, he's actually more efficient this year. Less passing attempts. The completion percentage was, about a point and a half higher, which is good. I mean, that's what they're going to want in the NFL. Is you got to be accurate. Okay, so that's the biggest thing, even more so than being able to throw a 70-yard bomb. You got to be accurate. 31 touchdowns last year, 35 this year. 8 picks last year, 9 picks this year. So, 4 rushing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. So, I mean, he can move a. I think some of these knocks are. I think the only thing I would say is the mechanics, and good NFL coaching is going to fix that real quick. So I think all around he is I think he's a better prospect than Drake May. He might be. I think it's probably Caleb, Jaden Daniels, and then Penix. I think Penix is the 3rd best quarterback prospect, and then I would put May and probably Bo Nix by 4 and 5. So I'll see what Jay thinks, but that's my analysis of Mr. Penix. And I was gonna say quick, he's done it against top end competition. I mean, they whooped Oregon a couple times this year, which isn't. I mean, Oregon's one of the best programs in the country. That isn't easy to do. Beat Texas. Even Oregon. Pac-12 was stacked this year. Even Oregon State, they beat. So I mean, they beat some really good teams this year. And another knock could be quick, and then I'll move on. That he had 3 NFL receivers, but maybe he made them. I mean, we haven't seen Odunze catch passes from like Tua yet, or McMillan catch passes from Russell Wilson yet. Like, that's to be seen. Like, who knows? We'll see when these 3 receivers are drafted what their careers end up to be. Comparable to Penix, and we'll see how things work there. And maybe they stay together. Maybe a team takes Penix in the 1st round, and then they take Polk in the 3rd, 4th round. So
yeah, for sure.
What are your thoughts?
I like Penix over Daniels. So that's just my opinion there. Williams, Mays, Penix, and then Daniels. But that's just me. I just think Penix is more of a NFL starter kind of quarterback than Daniels. I think he might take a little bit, but I mean, it all depends on where he's going to land too. I mean, Penix could sit a year or 2. It all depends too. I mean, if he sits a year, the only downfall is a lot of people think that he's a little bit older quarterback, but I will mention that here in just a moment. So I am going to bring up. I'm going to kind of go backtrack here with the last things here real quick. So. Penix Jr. I'm just gonna kind of just give everybody an overlay on everything here real quick and whatnot. So pretty much, Penix Jr. started his career
Ooh,
out
the
with.
Indiana days.
Yep, yep. He started his career with the Hoosiers. He played 3 games as a freshman in 2018. He actually tore his ACL, against Penn State. So that kind of ended his freshman career, his freshman season. And 2019, he recovered from his ACL, earned his starting job back. He only played 6 games, and then he ended up having a shoulder joint injury with on his one of his arms there. So that kind of ended his 2019. In 2020, he actually um, played another 6 games to only tear his ACL in the same knee that he had surgery on. So he tore his ACL twice in that same knee. And that was in 2020. Um, and then 2021, he only played 5 games during his junior year, only to miss just out on like the season to an AC joint on his throwing shoulder, I think it was, or one of his shoulders. So that's when he ended up transferring over to the Huskies. Um, so in 2022, he was actually fully healthy. He actually played a full season. Um, with the Huskies. So, and I'll pull this up here quick too as well. So, I mean, just okay. Um, oh crap, I'm not sure what the heck's going on here. Um, something happened going on here. Um,
So it's okay. I had some dead air for about 20 seconds, so we're good. I was like, what the hell was I thinking of? I
yeah,
should have myself on the head.
yeah, yeah. Something happened here, but yeah, crazy, crazy, crazy. But yeah, other than that, I was gonna do some other different slides there. Yeah, my little scrolls here are not popping up for some odd reason. Um, well, okay then. We'll just continue on here. But up here in the corner here it shows his stint with the Hoosiers and the Huskies. Um, just some quick notes here. He had a high completion rate of 75%. He completed most of his passes. He averaged about 11 yards per attempt. His 2023 season, he averaged about almost 400 yards per game. And then Michael Penix. He's kind of more your pocket passer, kind of dual threat kind of guy. I mean, he'll run if he really has to. I mean, it's kind of so. He won't really run at all. Um, and then a couple other notes here. He's got a great deep ball. I mean, his decisions into making um, over kind of like the coverages can be a little scary a little bit, especially when it gets into those tight areas and whatnot. But yeah, so that can be kind of scary. And then and then he's great under pressure too. If he needs to, he'll scramble a little bit too as well. And then the other good thing he's actually good at is that he can actually hit receivers in stride, which is pretty awesome. And as you can see in some of that Sugar Bowl, some of his passes to a Dunze and Polk and McMillan, some of them are just pretty much pretty much in stride catches. There was one where he was actually like just hanging there for a little bit, and it was just kind of like just there. Um, but yeah, I mean, other than that, for his dynasty outlook, he's pretty much a first rounder somewhere in there. So, but yeah, those are just kind of my things on Penix there. And then so here's my QB comparison here, real quick too as well, with Penix and McCarthy. A lot of people think just because he's been you know in the college atmosphere for so long that he's a little bit older quarterback, that he doesn't have what it takes to be an NFL quarterback, that he's got too many injuries. But I mean, if you really think about it, he was plagued with a lot of injuries that in my eyes, he's maybe only got maybe 3 or 4 years under his belt. Really, if you think about it, with the stint that he actually was in there, in with um, college season. So yeah, it's weird. But
That's why I think he. Well, that's what I was gonna say. That's why I think he needs a great offensive line and get the ball out quick, kind of like Tua. Obviously Tua's got to do it because he's smaller. He just got a quick release, but um, I and then this national championship matchup. I I don't know what the. I'm not a JJ McCarthy guy. I know Harbaugh was talking him up at the press conference. Oh, he's the best quarterback in Michigan history. And I'm like, sorry, did you forget that Tom Brady existed? You know what I mean? There's been some other, maybe statistically, because these numbers are all inflated these days. Maybe statistically, JJ McCarthy is up there, all time. But and this matchup here, this to me, dude, it's one sided. Penix is head and shoulders above JJ McCarthy, not only in college but as an NFL prospect. I really I think if McCarthy was taken high, he'd be a bust. Whereas Penix, injuries is the only thing that would stop Michael Penix from not being at least a top 12 quarterback, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah, I think Penix is a little bit better quarterback over McCarthy. He's still learning, but I mean, I just think Penix is a little bit more ready for the NFL transition. McCarthy
Yep.
might take a year or so before he kind of gets there. I believe that's just me and my thoughts on that, as on my thoughts as well on that. But yeah, and then yeah,
Do you
can't,
now? Do you have? I was gonna say, now, do you think because the injury, I kind of just ignored it. I knew about the two ACL injuries, but I don't. I almost think it's like two careers because Indiana, you saw the stats you put up there. Like Indiana, he
yeah,
was a very pedestrian quarterback. Didn't turn the ball over a ton. I mean, was very efficient. Didn't but he wasn't putting up these gaudy stats he is with Washington. I mean, it was like 4 years of nothing pretty much. But so I don't even consider. I consider it like a 2-year Washington career. I know, and he's not even that old. I mean, he'll be 24 by the time he's drafted. That's really not that old. I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, I think Joe Burrow was what 23 when he. Yeah. So he's not much older than what Joe Burrow was when he came in. And people weren't talking about Burrow's age. So, and a lot of these guys, and going forward, Jay, because of the NIL money, a lot of these guys will be 23, 24, maybe 25 years old when they get to the league. Bo Nix is going to be 25 because there's so much money in college. Like what, and then it helps these guys get seasoned too. So they come in to the NFL and they are ready to rock and roll. The age thing and the injuries thing. I think if he had just if 2022 ACL, he had been out all year, and then this year, fully healthy, put up these stats, then you might be a little concerned. I don't know. I don't think it's an issue anymore. I think that phase of his career, it's kind of like CMC. CMC was banged up for a long, long time, but he's had 2 consecutive fully healthy seasons, and I think that's in the rearview mirror. And I think it's the same thing with Michael Penix.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
And I think they're going to win the national championship. And I would put money. I would put money on Washington. They're a little bit of an underdog, but I think Washington's going to beat Michigan.
Yep.
How are you going to stop? How are you going to stop him? How are you going to stop these receivers? You got 3 of them that are going to be drafted probably within the first 4 rounds of the NFL draft. You know what I mean? How are you going to stop these guys?
Right. Yeah, that's gonna be the main thing there. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, they got 3 talented NFL caliber wide receivers. I mean, Polk for sure, and Odunze. McMillan not so much. I mean, he was injured most of this year, but McMillan is a name to actually, like, you know put in the back of your mind. You know what I mean? Kind of see where he
Yep.
goes in the draft and whatnot. So
Yep.
Well, unfortunately, I can't take this off the screen, so we're kind of screwed right now. Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Vamoosh.
we're kind of stuck with this, I guess. So until we end the show, so yeah, it's kind of one of those things. So yeah, unfortunately, we're just kind of stuck with this template just up here. So sorry, guys. This stream's kind of a it's been long enough already as is, and yeah, this kind of covers our our Penix Junior, and I will we'll actually get this we'll wrap this up, and we'll just gonna conclude our show here. So we'll see if this actually works too. If not, we'll just have to probably just conclude and end our show.